For Education, Janet David.
Question number 1, Mr Speaker.
Secretary of State.
With permission, Mr Speaker, I will take questions 1, 5, 7, 18 and 21 together. We will all know somebody with special educational needs or disabilities and understand how vital it is to get a child with special educational needs and disabilities the right support early on. In recent years, we've seen a massive increase in special educational needs in our country, and that's why we've expanded funding to record levels at £10.5 billion, up 60% in the last 5 years, and why we're reforming the system to deal with the increase in demand, including the biggest investment in building special educational needs school places in our country's history.
Janet David.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Children in Lewisham are waiting on average 2.5 years to get an autism diagnosis. This is wrong and is unacceptable. This is also a national issue that is made worse by a shortage of clinical staff. The government is failing to recognise the seriousness of the shortage of educational psychologists. Can the Minister, Secretary, tell me why they have failed and what is being done to recruit more educational psychologists, as well as tackling the EHCP waiting times?
Secretary of State.
I thank the Honourable Lady for a question. Around half of new EHCP plans were issued within the statutory time limit of 20 weeks, and some local authorities are delivering over 90%. But of course, we do recognise the system is under pressure, both post the pandemic and the massive rise in demand for special educational needs support. That's why we've increased the budget. That's why we've put an improvement plan in place. In regards to a particular question about educational psychologists, we are training 400 more educational standards, which is a big increase.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I have a constituent, but it could be many of the constituents that come to me, who has a child with ADHD, autism and other severe learning difficulties. She has had to wait an awful long time for her EHCP plan for her child, and in the end the EHCP plan has listed the very school that says it cannot cope with the needs of that child. This happens routinely, where the school that says they can't cope is still listed on the EHCP. What is the Minister doing to ensure that councils and other people who do the EHCP aren't just ignoring what the school says and are actually putting down the schools that can cope with the needs? This child now only has 1 hour a week education. That's surely not good enough.
No, we need to do all we can to support children with special educational needs. They are vulnerable and they do need the support, and they need the support as early as possible. We have got programmes in place to support local authorities, but the biggest thing that we're doing is actually increasing the number of special educational needs school places. This will be the largest increase in a generation, 60,000 more school places. And it's in stark contrast, actually, to when the Labour government were last in power, where the number of places reduced by 4,000. So that's something that we are very focused on doing. Many of those have already been delivered. Some of those are work in progress, and some of them will be in his area as well.
Alistair Strapper.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Far too many families know what a battle it can be to secure an EHC assessment for their child. But for forces families, this battle can become a recurring nightmare, as they're forced to restart the process all over again if required to move base before it completes. It can't be right that those who sacrifice so much for our country are so let down by the current assessment system. How can we put this right?
Secretary of State.
Of course, we're always looking to improve this system, and we do have an improvement plan in place. I'll take away specifically about people who move around from place to place. But the most important and fundamental thing that we can do is we've increased the budget, which is to now gone up to £10.5 billion. That's a 60% increase in the last few years. And also we're investing in building the right provision and educational psychologists and the workforce as well. So we do have a thorough plan in place, and we are working to deliver it.
Stephen Morgan.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Parents in Portsmouth are rightly concerned that fewer than half of primary